Have you listened to Playboi Carti?
No.
See?
Well, I'll listen to anything.
Playboi
I
Carti
can't know everything. I
Playboi
don't have
Carti,
enough time.
Bro, Playboi Carti can shut down this whole shit. I'm being
Can we
honest
play
with
some
you.
of it? Can we play some of it? We can play some
You
of it, right?
probably...
Which,
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Just some... See, look, I'm going to be a hater now by saying no. But no, we're not going to play no Playboi.
Why?
Because this is my Joe Rogan interview.
Imagine Joe Rogan playing some Playboi Carti on his podcast, man. Like, what are the odds of all of this happening? Like, I think this is super exciting news for all the Playboi Carti fans, especially me, because I'm like, yo, I listen to so much Joe Rogan and Danny Brown mentioning Playboi Carti, the GOAT, man. Absolutely unbelievable. Definitely super fire, man. Like, man, just imagine how lit it would have been if he played Magnolia or even Lookin', you know what I mean, featuring Lil Uzi Vert. Just like imagine Joe Rogan's reaction to Playboi Carti and Lil Uzi Vert. Like, that would just be so weird, man. Like, it's just like, I'm a rock star. And Joe Rogan's just like, whoa, this is really interesting. But yeah, I would have really loved to see them just kind of go way more in depth and just talking about Playboi Carti with Danny Brown. Even though if you notice at the end of the clip, Danny Brown's pretty much like, yo, this is my podcast. This is not about Playboi Carti. Anyways, Joe Rogan and Danny Brown have been longtime friends, especially when it comes to podcasting together. They actually have, I think, 2 different podcasts together, and Danny Brown even has his own podcast and has also been making a bunch of different rounds on a bunch of other people's podcasts, including Andrew Schultz. And that one was pretty entertaining, honestly. But I still haven't got a chance to look at the third podcast with Danny Brown and Playboi Carti. I just saw this clip on Twitter and I'm like, yo, I need to talk about this, I need to react to this and really go in depth in this. But yeah, like, I think it's super dope that Joe Rogan and Danny Brown are friends, because it's pretty much opening up the door to all these new school rappers. Imagine if you mentioned Destroy Lonely or Yeet. I'm just glad it was Playboi Carti, you know what I mean? Because Joe Rogan definitely an older audience, right? So when they mention Playboi Carti, they're like, a Playboy, just like the magazine. And then Carti. Is it Cardi B? No, it's the rapper Playboi Carti. So it'll just be kind of interesting just to see like the older people's perspective on who is Playboi Carti. I also wanted to mention some of my favorite stories that Danny Brown ever talks about with Joe Rogan is the jail stories. And those jail stories are super entertaining because Danny Brown also mentioned it on Andrew Schultz podcast as well. And I don't know, man, I think it's just great that Danny Brown mentioned Playboi Carti, and even just having a rapper on the Joe Rogan podcast. I know he's had Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, and Danny Brown. I'm not too sure about any other rappers, but maybe one day we'll actually get Playboi Carti. I think that would be super interesting, like on God. Let's just do a little deep dive into Danny Brown. Danny Brown has a few classic projects, and he's always kind of just been a bubbling artist close to the mainstream. He's had affiliates with TDE, Schoolboy Q, Absol, all those guys, even A$AP Rocky. But some of his really standout projects are the project XXX and also the album Old. And you know, his most recent album that dropped in 2019 was very underwhelming to me, my personal opinion. But I think Danny Brown definitely makes very experimental and very good music, you know what I mean? I kind of already said it before, but just Playboi Carti being mentioned on the biggest podcast in the world just really shows how much Playboi Carti has fully grown. I think this is just so fire, man. Like, we just need more people to know Playboi Carti, and even just his whole aesthetic, like the face paint, you know, just the screams when he performs, just everything about Playboi Carti is just like absolutely unbelievable. But to wrap up this video, I just want to kind of ask a question. Do you think a Danny Brown and Playboi Carti collab would actually be good? Because I think A Whole Lotta Red was pretty experimental to an extent with a lot of the different songs. And Danny Brown is also a pretty experimental artist. So I think them clashing together, they can make some interesting music. Obviously Danny Brown's around his 40s, Playboi Carti is late 20s, but you know, it's just music. I think they can make some fire music together, if you know what I'm saying. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Joe Rogan mentioning Playboi Carti with Danny Brown? Let me know in the comments and like this video and also subscribe.